speaking out, others see calculated drama designed to dominate headlines. And in the middle of it all is one question hanging heavy in the air. If these reports are even partially true, what happens next? This is the story everyone is talking about, not because it's proven, but because the possibility alone has shaken the culture. Ever since reports began circulating online about a new documentary-style project, allegedly connected to 50 Cent, the mood across the entertainment world has noticeably shifted. Fans are not just surprised, they are unsettled, because this story refuses to stay still. Every few hours, a new claim, a new reaction, or a new interpretation appears, making the situation feel larger than a typical media rumor. Nothing has been officially confirmed, but the volume of discussion alone has been enough to convince many people that something unusual is happening behind the scenes. According to online chatter, this project is not being described as a standard music documentary or a simple career retrospective. Instead, people claim it is framed as raw, confrontational, and deeply personal. Blogs and commentary channels suggest that it revisits old conflicts, revisualizes long-standing rivalries, and allegedly includes material that was never meant for public consumption. Again, these are claims being discussed, not proven facts, but the emotional response from fans has been intense. Many are saying this feels less like entertainment and more like a cultural reckoning. The name 50 Cent alone brings a certain expectation. Fans point out that he has never been known for playing things safe or protecting industry comfort. Over the years, he has built a reputation for speaking bluntly, mocking powerful figures, and refusing to soften his message for approval. Because of that history, many people online believe that if he is attached to a project like this, it would not be gentle or carefully polished. They believe it would be disruptive by design. What has really fueled the fire is the way other major names are being pulled into the conversation. Reports and social media posts repeatedly mention Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs, two figures whose influence over music, business, and culture has been enormous for decades. Fans are shocked by how casually these names are being linked to alleged footage, recordings, and private moments. Even without confirmation, the implication alone has made people uneasy. Emotions ran high as supporters rushed to defend their favorites, while critics demanded explanations. Many fans are revisiting old interviews, award show moments, and public appearances, searching for clues they may have overlooked before. Scenes that once seemed harmless are now being reframed as tense or awkward. People are questioning
past alliances, business partnerships, and moments of silence that once went unnoticed. The internet has turned into a massive investigation board, with theories connecting dots across years of hip-hop history. At the same time, there's a strong counter-reaction. A large group of viewers is warning others not to confuse rumors with reality. They argue that the industry thrives on controversy, and that sensational stories are often exaggerated for clicks and attention. These fans are urging patience, reminding everyone that powerful accusations require real evidence. This divide has only added to the drama, turning comment sections into heated battlegrounds. The alleged involvement of Netflix has taken the story to another level. Reports claim that the platform was caught off guard by the reaction surrounding this project, and that internal conversations may be happening about how to handle the situation. Once again, there has been no official statement confirming panic or concern, but the rumor alone has been enough to spark intense speculation. Fans are asking why a streaming giant would hesitate unless there was something truly sensitive involved. Some commentators believe the Netflix angle could be part of a strategic rollout, designed to generate maximum buzz before any official announcement. Others believe it reflects genuine discomfort, suggesting that certain stories are simply too risky to present without legal or reputational consequences. The uncertainty surrounding this has only made the narrative more addictive. Every possibility feels dramatic, and every silence feels suspicious. Reactions from within the industry, or at least what are being described as reactions, have also become part of the story. People claim that certain artists, executives, and insiders are deliberately avoiding the topic. Vague social media posts, sudden changes in tone, and carefully worded statements are being analyzed as signs of tension. Fans are reading between the lines, convinced that silence itself is a form of communication. The emotional stakes feel high because this story is not just about one person or one project. It touches on ideas of power, control, loyalty, and betrayal. Supporters of each side feel personally invested, as if the outcome of this narrative will confirm or challenge what they have believed for years. For some, this feels like long-awaited validation. For others, it feels like an unfair attack built on speculation. Online creators have amplified the drama even further by reacting in real time. Live streams, reaction videos, and breakdowns are appearing nonstop, each adding a new layer of interpretation. Some creators claim they have heard similar stories before and that this moment was inevitable. Others insist the entire situation is being blown out of proportion. The constant noise has made it almost impossible for casual viewers to separate rumor from reality. What stands out most is how quickly the story has taken on a life of its own.
Even without confirmed details, it has already reshaped conversations around some of the most influential figures in hip-hop. Fans are no longer just discussing music or business success. They are debating ethics, responsibility, and the cost of silence. The tone has shifted from curiosity to suspicion, and in some cases to outright anger. Yet despite all the noise, the core truth remains uncertain. No one outside the inner circle knows exactly what exists, what does not, or what may never see the light of day. That uncertainty is what keeps the audience hooked. Every rumor feels like a potential revelation, and every denial feels temporary. The story continues to grow, not because of what has been confirmed, but because of what people believe might be revealed next. Ever since reports started spreading online about a new documentary allegedly connected to 50 Cent, the atmosphere around hip-hop culture has felt tense and unpredictable. Fans are not just talking, they are dissecting every rumor with intensity, convinced that something bigger than a normal media rollout is unfolding. According to commentary channels and gossip blogs, this project is being framed as bold, confrontational, and deeply unsettling for people at the highest levels of the industry. None of this has been confirmed, but the speed at which the narrative is growing has made it impossible to ignore. What makes these reports hit harder is the suggestion that this is not just a creative project, but a personal one. People online are saying that this documentary allegedly revisits years of unresolved tension, long-standing rivalries, and quiet power struggles that were never meant to become public conversation. Fans say it feels like unfinished business being dragged back into the spotlight. Emotions ran high as people began reposting old clips, interviews, and quotes, insisting that the signs were always there if you knew where to look. The name Jay-Z coming up in these discussions has
added a heavy layer of seriousness to the situation. For decades, he has represented control, strategy, and quiet dominance in the industry. Reports circulating online claim that this documentary allegedly touches on moments that challenge that image, moments that fans say could reframe how certain relationships are viewed. Again, these are not established facts, but the implication alone has sent shockwaves through fan communities. At the same time, Sean Diddy Combs is being mentioned repeatedly in the same breath, and that connection has intensified the drama. Fans are shocked by how casually his name is being linked to alleged footage and behind-the-scenes situations. People online are saying that the documentary is rumored to explore how public friendships sometimes mask deeper conflicts and private deals. Supporters argue that none of this should be taken as truth, while critics say it finally explains years of confusing behavior. As these stories spread, reactions have poured in from every corner of the internet. Fans have split into camps, with some defending their favorite figures fiercely and others demanding transparency. Emotions ran high in comment sections, where accusations of betrayal and manipulation were thrown around freely. People are saying this feels less like entertainment gossip and more like a battle over legacy. Longtime supporters feel personally attacked, as if the reputations they admired are being questioned by rumor alone. What has kept this story alive is how much history is being pulled into the present. Fans are revisiting past interviews, where jokes now feel loaded, pauses feel intentional, and smiles feel forced. People are replaying award show moments and business announcements, convinced that tension was hiding in plain sight. Every old clip suddenly feels relevant again, feeding the idea that the current reports are part of a much larger story arc that never truly ended. There is also a growing sense of paranoia surrounding silence. People online are pointing out who has not spoken, who has avoided the topic, and who has posted vague messages that could be interpreted in multiple ways. Fans say the lack of direct responses only makes the rumors louder. In the world of celebrity culture, silence is often read as strategy, and many believe that is exactly what is happening now. The mention of Netflix in these reports has taken everything to another level. According to online chatter, the platform is allegedly uneasy about the situation, with some claiming internal discussions are happening about how to manage the reaction. There is no confirmation of panic or conflict, but fans are asking why a streaming giant would even be rumored to hesitate unless the content was truly sensitive. Others believe the Netflix angle is part of the drama itself, designed to make the project feel forbidden and explosive. Industry insiders, or at least people claiming to be close to the situation, are adding fuel to the fire by dropping hints without details. Cryptic posts, emojis, and half-statements are being treated as evidence by fans who are desperate for clarity. People are reading meaning into every word, convinced that no one would tease this topic unless something real was at stake. The speculation has reached a point where the line between reporting and storytelling feels blurred. Still, there is a strong voice pushing back against the frenzy. Many fans are reminding others that rumors are not proof, and that the industry has seen countless fake exposés before. They argue that controversy drives clicks, and that exaggerated narratives are often used to build anticipation.
This group believes the situation is being blown out of proportion, warning that reputations can be damaged long before facts are established. Yet, even among skeptics, curiosity remains. People admit that the idea alone is compelling. The possibility that long-whispered stories might be addressed openly is enough to keep audiences watching closely. For better or worse, this alleged documentary has already succeeded in dominating the conversation, even without an official announcement or release date. What stands out most is how personal the reaction has become. Fans are not just discussing content, they are debating loyalty, truth, and accountability. People feel like they are watching the opening chapter of a dramatic saga that could reshape how certain icons are remembered. Whether these reports lead to anything concrete or fade away as hype, the emotional impact is already real. As the rumors continue to evolve, one thing is clear: the story has moved beyond a single project. It has become a mirror reflecting the tension between image and reality, between power and perception. And as long as new claims keep surfacing, the conversation will not slow down, leaving fans waiting for whatever revelation or denial might come next. As the noise around these reports continued to grow, the emotional temperature online
only intensified. Fans began to say that this situation felt different from the usual rumor cycle because it was not being pushed by just one source. Instead, multiple commentary channels, anonymous posts, and secondhand accounts all seemed to echo similar themes. People claimed that the documentary was being described behind the scenes as something that did not flatter anyone involved, especially those who have spent years carefully controlling their public image. Again, none of this was confirmed, but repetition alone made the claims feel heavier. Some fans started focusing on the idea of motive. They asked, why this moment, why now, and why this specific framing? According to online discussions, some believe the timing is connected to old grudges that never fully disappeared. Others say it has more to do with shifting power in the industry, where silence no longer guarantees protection. Emotions ran high as people argued over whether this was about truth finally surfacing or about settling scores in the loudest way possible. What added another layer of tension was the way fans described the alleged tone of the project. People claimed it was not calm or reflective, but sharp and confrontational. Some said it allegedly included moments where voices were raised, accusations were implied, and uncomfortable questions were left hanging without answers. These descriptions made the imagined scenes feel almost cinematic, as if viewers would be pulled directly into private conflicts that were never meant to be shared publicly. Online, people began speculating about how those named in the reports might be reacting in private. Fans imagined tense phone calls, emergency meetings, and long discussions with legal teams. None of this was verified, but the idea of powerful figures scrambling behind closed doors captured the public imagination. Comments were filled with phrases like, "fans are shocked," and "this changes everything," even though no concrete details had been released. Family and inner circle reactions also became part of the narrative. Some fans claimed that people close to the figures mentioned were uncomfortable with the rumors, while others suggested they were frustrated by years of silence finally being challenged. "The family was left divided" became a common phrase in speculative posts, even though no family member had spoken publicly. This kind of language added emotional weight, making the situation feel deeply personal rather than purely professional. Another major talking point was loyalty. Fans debated who stood by whom over the years, and whether those alliances were built on trust or convenience. Old friendships were re-examined, and past collaborations were suddenly viewed through a suspicious lens. People said that if the rumors were even partially true, it would mean that loyalty in the industry was far more fragile than fans wanted to believe. At the same time, many viewers pointed out how quickly narratives can spiral once they take hold. They warned that speculation often fills gaps where facts are missing, creating stories that feel real simply because they are repeated enough times. Still, even these cautionary voices admitted that the situation was gripping. Curiosity kept pulling them back into the conversation, no matter how skeptical they tried to be. The Netflix angle continued to evolve in fan discussions. Some claimed the platform was carefully monitoring the reaction, weighing risk against attention. Others believed that Netflix was being used symbolically in the story, representing corporate fear and control rather than an actual confirmed response. Fans argued over whether panic was real or simply assumed because the content was rumored to be explosive. The lack of clarity only made the speculation stronger. Meanwhile, reaction videos and live streams multiplied. Creators spoke passionately, some claiming they felt vindicated for things they had suspected for years, others warning that jumping to conclusions could cause irreversible damage. These reactions became part of the story themselves, shaping how new viewers understood the situation. The line between reporting on rumors and becoming part of the rumor machine grew thinner by the day. People also started questioning how much of this was intentional. Some fans suggested that the mystery itself was the point, that allowing rumors to spread without confirmation created maximum engagement.
Others argued that no one would risk this level of controversy without believing they could control the outcome. Both ideas fed into the drama, making it feel like a high-stakes chess match rather than a simple content release. Throughout all of this, the emotional investment from the audience kept growing. People spoke as if they were personally involved, defending reputations or demanding accountability with equal intensity. Friendships were tested in comment sections as fans argued back and forth, each side convinced they understood the truth.
Better than the other. It was clear that this story was no longer just about a rumored documentary, but about what people wanted to believe regarding power and honesty. As the days passed, new interpretations continued to surface. A single vague quote could spark hours of debate. A simple emoji posted by someone loosely connected to the industry was treated like a coded message. Fans were piecing together a puzzle without knowing if all the pieces even belonged to the same picture. Yet the process itself became addictive, keeping attention locked on the unfolding narrative. Despite the chaos, one consistent theme emerged in nearly every discussion: anticipation. People felt like they were standing at the edge of something, unsure whether it would collapse into nothing or explode into a defining cultural moment. That sense of waiting, of expecting a reveal or denial at any moment, kept emotions raw and conversations alive. By this point, the rumor had grown far beyond its original form. It was no longer just about alleged footage or a documentary project. It had become a story about control, exposure, and the fear of losing a carefully built image. And as long as no clear answers were given, that fear and curiosity continued to feed each other, pulling everyone deeper into the drama. As the speculation deepened, people began focusing less on what the documentary might show and more on what it represented. Many fans started saying this moment felt like a pressure test for the entire industry, a point where long-standing myths about unity and loyalty were being quietly questioned. Even without proof, the rumor itself was doing damage, forcing conversations that had been avoided for years. Emotions ran high as people debated whether exposure, even alleged exposure, was necessary for growth or simply destructive for the sake of attention. Some fans claimed that the most unsettling part was not the idea of leaked material, but the suggestion that so many people may have known pieces of these stories and chosen silence. That idea alone triggered anger and disappointment. People wrote that if whispers had existed for years, then everyone laughing at old jokes or applauding at award shows now felt complicit in hindsight. Others pushed back hard against that thinking, reminding everyone that assumptions can rewrite history unfairly. The story began to take on a life of its own as imagined scenes played out in people's minds. Fans described tense behind-the-scenes moments as if they were watching them unfold in real time. They pictured private rooms filled with arguments, advisors warning about consequences, and long nights spent debating whether to respond or stay quiet. None of this was verified, but the mental images felt vivid enough to fuel endless discussion. Reaction from supposed friends and associates became a major talking point. Fans scrutinized social media timelines, looking for changes in behavior. A delayed post, a deleted caption, or a sudden absence was treated as evidence that something was wrong. People said the silence felt loud, and the lack of direct denial made the rumors feel heavier. The idea that powerful figures might be choosing strategy over transparency frustrated many viewers. At the same time, a different emotional current was building among longtime fans. Some expressed sadness rather than anger, saying they never wanted to see legends reduced to rumor-driven controversy. They felt torn between curiosity and respect, unsure whether engaging with the story meant betraying the art that had shaped their lives. This internal conflict showed how deeply personal the narrative had become for the audience. Others framed the situation as inevitable. They argued that fame and power always come with a reckoning, whether deserved or not. According to this view, the documentary rumors were just another chapter in a cycle that repeats whenever influence grows too concentrated. Fans using this lens claimed that the shock people felt was proof of how carefully images had been managed for decades. The conversation also shifted towards control of narrative. People debated who benefits most from the chaos. Some believed the rumored project was a way to reclaim control, to tell a story before someone else did. Others argued it was a reaction to losing control, an attempt to dominate headlines rather than let silence define the moment. Both interpretations painted a picture of a high-stakes game where perception mattered more than truth. Media literacy became an unexpected theme in these discussions. Some viewers began calling out how quickly people accepted unverified claims as fact. They warned that the speed of online storytelling often rewards the most dramatic version, not the most accurate one.
Yet even these voices admitted they were watching closely, unable to fully disengage from a story that felt too big to ignore. The idea of betrayal started appearing more frequently in comments. Fans asked
whether loyalty in the industry was ever real or always transactional. Old partnerships were re-examined, with people questioning whether smiles and praise were genuine or strategic. The phrase, "the family was left divided," appeared again and again, symbolizing not just literal families, but the fractured sense of community among artists and fans alike. As more creators weighed in, the tone of the conversation grew darker. Some suggested that once a narrative like this gains momentum, no outcome feels satisfying. If nothing comes out, people will assume a cover-up. If something does come out, it will confirm the worst fears of critics. This no-win situation added to the tension, making every moment of silence feel heavier than the last. Fans also began to speculate about how this could affect future projects and collaborations. They wondered whether certain partnerships would quietly disappear or whether public unity would be emphasized to counter the rumors. The idea that business decisions might now be influenced by fear of association added another layer of intrigue to the story. Throughout all of this, the emotional investment kept escalating. People were no longer just reacting to headlines, they were projecting their own beliefs and frustrations onto the narrative. For some, this was about accountability and transparency. For others, it was about protecting legacies they grew up admiring. These opposing motivations collided constantly, creating an atmosphere where every comment felt charged. What made the situation even more intense was the lack of a clear endpoint. There was no scheduled release, no confirmed statement, no definitive denial to anchor expectations. Fans felt suspended in a moment of anticipation, where anything could happen and nothing was certain. That uncertainty became the fuel keeping the conversation alive. By this stage, the rumored documentary had transformed into a symbol rather than a product. It represented fear of exposure, hunger for truth, and the power of narrative itself. Whether the project ever materialized seemed almost secondary to the cultural impact the rumor had already achieved. As the days continued to pass, the story showed no signs of fading. Instead, it kept expanding, pulling in more voices, more theories, and more emotional responses. People were no longer asking just what might be revealed, but what it would mean if nothing ever was. And in that unresolved space, the drama continued to grow, holding the audience in a constant state of expectation and unease. As the rumors reached what many fans described as a breaking point, the conversation shifted again, this time toward consequences. People began asking what happens when speculation alone becomes powerful enough to reshape reputations. Even without confirmation, the weight of constant discussion started to feel real. Fans said it was no longer just about curiosity, but about how narratives can change the way history is remembered. Emotions ran high, as supporters worried that silence might be interpreted as guilt, while responses might only add fuel to the fire. Some online voices claimed that behind the scenes, pressure was building from every direction. They imagined advisors urging caution, lawyers warning about implications, and close friends struggling to decide whether loyalty meant defending publicly or staying quiet. None of this was verified, but the imagined tension resonated with viewers who have seen similar stories play out before. To them, the pattern felt familiar. Rumors grow, silence stretches, and perception slowly hardens into belief. Fans also started debating responsibility. Some argued that public figures carry an obligation to address damaging narratives quickly, especially when their influence reaches millions. Others countered that responding to every rumor only legitimizes misinformation. This back and forth revealed a deeper divide about how celebrity culture should function in an age where speculation travels faster than facts. The family was left divided became less about individuals and more about the audience itself. Another twist in the discussion came from people questioning the role of platforms and media. Fans wondered whether streaming services, blogs, and reaction channels were amplifying the story simply because it performed well. Some accused the ecosystem of rewarding outrage and mystery, turning uncertainty into entertainment. Others defended the coverage, saying that discussing reports does not mean declaring them true. This tension highlighted how easily lines blur between commentary and accusation. As the story continued, some viewers began to pull back emotionally. They expressed fatigue, saying the constant speculation felt exhausting rather than exciting. Yet even these voices admitted they kept checking for updates. The grip of the narrative was strong, driven by the fear of missing a major revelation or denial. Anticipation became its own form of suspense,
keeping attention locked in place.
People also started thinking about legacy in a broader sense. Fans asked how decades of music, business achievements, and cultural impact might be viewed through the lens of controversy. They debated whether rumors, even unproven ones, could overshadow accomplishments that once felt untouchable. For some, this was a painful thought, creating resistance to engaging with the story at all. For others, it was proof that no legacy is immune to scrutiny. The idea of timing returned to the center of discussion. Fans questioned why these reports surfaced now instead of years earlier. Some believed shifting cultural values made audiences more willing to question powerful figures. Others suggested that industry dynamics had changed, making silence less effective as a shield. Regardless of interpretation, timing itself became part of the mystery, adding another layer to the unfolding drama. Online creators continued to react, some attempting to comb the conversation while others leaned fully into the spectacle. Live chats filled with conflicting emotions, from anger to excitement to disappointment. Viewers argued with each other in real time, each convinced their reading of the situation was the most reasonable. The intensity of engagement showed how deeply the story had embedded itself in the culture. There was also growing awareness of how narratives can trap everyone involved. Fans pointed out that once a rumor reaches a certain scale, even clarifications struggle to undo its impact. Denial can be dismissed as damage control, while confirmation can validate the harshest assumptions. This sense of inevitability made the situation feel heavy, as if all possible outcomes carried some form of loss. Despite everything, moments of reflection did appear. Some fans urged others to remember the difference between reports and reality. They reminded people that entertainment thrives on exaggeration, and that truth often emerges slower and quieter than rumors. These voices tried to slow the pace, encouraging patience and restraint, yet even they acknowledged how difficult it was to resist the pull of a story this charged. As days turned into weeks in the imagination of the audience, the lack of resolution became its own conclusion. The story no longer needed new details to survive. It had become a living narrative fueled by speculation, emotion, and the human desire for revelation. Every new comment added another layer, whether it clarified anything or not. What ultimately defined this moment was not proof, but possibility. The idea that something significant could be revealed was enough to keep people watching closely. Fans felt like they were standing in the shadow of a door that might never open, yet they could not walk away from it. That tension between expectation and uncertainty gave the story its power. In the end, the rumored documentary became more than a piece of content. It turned into a symbol of how stories form, spread, and take control in the digital age. It showed how easily perception can shift and how quickly lines blur between fact and fiction. Whether the reports fade away or lead to something tangible, the impact of this moment has already been felt. And as the conversation continues, one thing remains clear to everyone involved. Once a narrative like this enters the culture, it does not simply disappear. It lingers, reshaping discussions, challenging assumptions, and leaving people to wonder not just what is true, but how truth itself is defined when rumor becomes louder than reality. Now it's your turn. You've heard the reports, the reactions, and the theories that have taken over timelines and comment sections everywhere. None of this has been confirmed, and that's exactly why the conversation matters so much right now. Rumors only gain power when people engage with them, question them, and challenge them from every angle. So ask yourself, do you think this is all just hype built for attention, or do you believe there is something deeper behind these reports that people are afraid to address? You're watching this unfold in real time, just like everyone else. Every silence, every vague post, every reaction video adds another layer to the story. But the truth doesn't come from noise alone. It comes from discussion. That's why your voice matters here. What do you think is really going on behind the scenes, and why do you think this moment has hit the culture so hard? If you found this breakdown engaging, make sure you like this video so more people can join the conversation. Subscribe to the channel if you want to stay updated as this story evolves, because whether these reports fade away or turn into something bigger, the discussion is far from over. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update or deep dive. Most importantly, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think these reports will ever be clarified, or will this remain one of those stories that
lives forever in speculation? Do you believe silence is strategic, or do you think it's a mistake? Keep it respectful, keep it honest, and keep the conversation going. This story isn't finished, and neither is the debate around it. Stay locked in, stay curious, and remember to question everything you hear until facts replace rumors.
Listen closely, because what you are about to hear is not a confirmed exposé, not a courtroom verdict, and not a statement of fact. It's the storm that's been building online, the kind of story fans say is too big to ignore and too loud to silence. Over the past few days, social media timelines have been on fire with reports, whispers, and dramatic claims suggesting that 50 Cent has unleashed a shocking new documentary project, one that allegedly sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and triggered panic-level conversations behind closed doors at Netflix. Fans are shocked, insiders are talking, and everyone seems to be asking the same question: why now? According to circulating reports, this documentary is being framed as raw, unfiltered, and dangerously close to the truth. Blogs claim it contains never-before-seen material, alleged recordings, and explosive moments involving Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs. Again, these are claims being discussed online, not verified facts, but that hasn't stopped the internet from running wild. Comment sections are flooded with people saying, "This explains everything," while others are warning that this could be the most controversial entertainment release in years. What makes this story even more intense is the history. Fans remember the long-standing tension, the public jabs, the sarcastic posts, and the cold silence that followed. People are now connecting dots, replaying old interviews, dissecting past lyrics, and asking whether this documentary is revenge, justice, or simply a masterclass in shock value storytelling. Emotions ran high as influencers reacted live, some claiming they were warned not to speak on it, others insisting they've heard similar stories for years. Then there's Netflix, or at least the version of Netflix being discussed online. Reports claim executives were caught off guard, scrambling to manage damage, allegedly questioning what could be shown and what crossed a line. Fans say the platform is nervous, others say it's all part of a rollout strategy. No official confirmation exists, but the rumor alone has ignited chaos. Friends, fans, and critics are divided. Some see a truth-teller finally speaking out, others see calculated drama designed to dominate headlines. And in the middle of it all is one question hanging heavy in the air. If these reports are even partially true, what happens next? This is the story everyone is talking about, not because it's proven, but because the possibility alone has shaken the culture. Ever since reports began circulating online about a new documentary-style project, allegedly connected to 50 Cent, the mood across the entertainment world has noticeably shifted. Fans are not just surprised, they are unsettled, because this story refuses to stay still. Every few hours, a new claim, a new reaction, or a new interpretation appears, making the situation feel larger than a typical media rumor. Nothing has been officially confirmed, but the volume of discussion alone has been enough to convince many people that something unusual is happening behind the scenes. According to online chatter, this project is not being described as a standard music documentary or a simple career retrospective. Instead, people claim it is framed as raw, confrontational, and deeply personal. Blogs and commentary channels suggest that it revisits old conflicts, revisualizes long-standing rivalries, and allegedly includes material that was never meant for public consumption. Again, these are claims being discussed, not proven facts, but the emotional response from fans has been intense.